Good evening and welcome from the Crimson Head team, hosting a very special guest, the actor for Marie Cunningham in Silent Hill Downpour. We're so very lucky to have with us tonight, Kristin Price.
Hello, everybody. It is really a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much, Kristin. Welcome. Thank you for this opportunity. We're going to be showcasing your wonderful performance tonight in Silent Hill Downpour. So thank you so much for joining us.
It's great to be revisiting this 10 years later. So thank you, everybody, for having interest in this game.
Well, it's in 4 weeks' time. The game's going to be 10 years old. It's going to be its 10th anniversary. So
I know, 10 years.
I'm relatively new to the game. It's funny. This all started when I tweeted out about Silent Hill Downpour, just an appreciation post, and my word, the response that we got was just overwhelming, just in terms of the likes and the retweets. I mean, eclipsed most of the numbers that we get for most of our tweets. So and many people again just saying just how prominent and how kind of significant your role, and the character that you play, your role was in this game.
That I really appreciate that, because the funny thing was, I didn't feel like it got a huge amount of attention right when it was released. So it's great to know that people did enjoy it and they did play it and they did get something out of it, especially getting something out of the characters, because it is a very emotional. I mean, both Murphy and Anne have very emotional journeys.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're going to get to this. We've got questions that speak to that. We are known more prominently for streaming Resident Evil, and there are many parallels, and I think fans of Resident Evil that may not be as familiar with Silent Hill, particularly say Silent Hill Downpour, that follow us, I think are going to see some fantastic parallels, and really hope that we can open up this game to to a new audience. And as Batgirl's going to show tonight, Kristin, that it's very much available Downpour to play on more recent consoles than the one that it was released on. But we'll get to that. So, Batgirl, over to you. Do you want to start when you're ready?
Alrighty.
And of course, Kristin, your fans in live chat will be asking questions that we'll put to you during the stream.
I'm just going to leave it easy, that way we can get through most of it faster.
That's a good idea. And everyone, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Please let us know if our volume is okay. Most importantly, you don't want to hear much from me, you want to hear from Kristin, so let us know that you can hear Kristin okay. And of course, we won't talk too much during the cutscenes, and we'll be showcasing all of Kristin's scenes, so don't worry. Right, here we go. Has it been some time, Kristin, since you've watched this game? When was the last time you saw Downpour?
Gosh, it's been several years since I watched big chunks of it. I have some of the final scene excerpted on my website, so I've seen the Truth and Justice ending more recently. That's my favorite.
All set. Make it quick, huh? Follow me.
Oop. There we go.
Come on, Murphy, stop
It's
screwing around. I don't have all day.
It's interesting you bring that up, because I think that's considered, I think Tom Hewlett in interview mentioned that's considered the canon ending, and we'll definitely be playing scenes from that later on.
Make it quick,
Yeah,
Cupcake.
it's my favorite of the endings, even though it leaves me a little bit in question of whether Anne truly learned her lesson from Silent Hill. She's still out for revenge.
And we were speaking last night, weren't we, that you've only just recently come across the comics series, Anne's story.
Yeah, I had no idea that existed until very recently.
It's actually fantastic, because I'll mention a couple of scenes from the comic when we get to your cutscenes, because it's interesting. It kind of you see from the point of view of Anne sort of the emotional turmoil and the contradictions playing through her mind, thoughts of revenge. But then you get from the comic, you get sort of flashbacks to her childhood with her father and the kind of the life lessons that her father's teaching her about, once you pull that trigger, you can't turn time back, so we'll send you, if we can, we'll send you scans of that comic, because it's wonderful to see, the story very much from Anne's perspective.
That would be great, because there's actually some, from what I've seen and what I've read on the Silent Hill wiki, there is some context that I actually didn't have when I was recording this. That would have been interesting to have, but I created my own backstory.
After this cutscene finishes, we'll get to our first question, which very much speaks to that.
What the hell's going on? Where's Sewell? There's been a mistake. I'm a sequestered prisoner. You're not supposed to be here. Guards? Officer Sewell? Hello?
You don't recognize me, do you?
What? No, Guards! Guards! Anybody?
We used to be neighbors.
Guards! Guards, open the goddamn door! Help somebody!
I've got to say, the detail certainly stands up with today's standard of consoles.
I talked to the warden.
No one's listening.
Help! Jesus, help me!
Brutal way to start the game. I
I know,
didn't even hesitate.
It is quite an intense because this is my first Silent Hill game, and I was quite shocked from the start that
Can I smack him with the bench?
Yeah, what character am I playing here?
I have this script pulled up in front of me, and the directions are that this fight is supposed to make the player uncomfortable. Like, this is the introduction to the moral choices you're going to be making.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it made everybody uncomfortable having to do this, because it's like, okay, you're gonna kill somebody. Uh-oh.
Yeah, welcome to the game. You're
Yep.
about to kill an unarmed man in the shower.
I mean, obviously, I think it's quite significant that you get that line at the beginning, we used to be neighbours. So clearly, something, there's something quite insidious going on that's just, well, to a certain extent. I mean, I'm not going to think it justifies this, but it's not
But
black
they don't
and
give you
white.
a lot of justification before they tell you to kill this guy.
No.
No. I mean, we used to be neighbours. I mean, he could have been playing his music too loud. You don't know better.
Jerry, I swear.
Did I wake you, Pendleton?
Jerry doesn't think that scene made me uncomfortable.
Come on, rise and shine, Cupcake. You know the drill.
We're dying here to ask you so many questions, Kristin. We're going to be a little bit careful not to speak over the cutscenes.
Open 302B, transfer.
Now, you're a gamer yourself, Kristin, because you were mentioning some of the series that you're a fan of. I know that you were familiar with Silent Hill, but I'll let you tell your fans some of the games that you enjoy playing.
Well, I mean, I grew up in the age of the very first generation Nintendos, so, I played the very first Zelda, the very first Mario, all that. And then more recently, my family's been making a project of Zelda Breath of the Wild. We've really enjoyed all playing that together, so that's our current thing. And there's a beautiful game for Switch. If any of you guys have Switch, called Ori, O-R-I.
Oh, yes.
It's also on
Beautiful.
Xbox.
I've seen
Oh,
footage
it's
of this.
gorgeous.
It's also on Xbox. There's one of them
It's
that's on Xbox.
Although we joke that it really should, instead of Ori and the Blind Forest, it should be called Ori and the Million Different Ways to Die, because you die so many times.
It's interesting you mentioned that, because one of the reasons I came so late to Silent Hill was that I, like you, very much started on sort of Nintendo, and you mentioned Ori, and those very colourful 2D platform games with those, very beautiful looking sprites. And when sort of the first PlayStation games were coming out with these like these big 3D polygon graphics, which to me were just very rough and ugly in comparison, to the 2D sprites. And so I was kind of just waging a one-man war against, these 3D polygons, and I just wanted to stay with the 2D colourful sprites. And so I didn't play these games until much, much later on, when I really became aware that actually they were, very immersive. The storytelling, the environmental storytelling was, very strong.
Yes.
But yeah, Zelda's fantastic. I need to buy a Switch just for Breath of the Wild.
It's worth it. It really is.
It is.
I just want to say thank you to everyone that's tuning in. I noticed. I'll be quiet for a moment.
You gonna miss us? Give it a couple of days at Wayside Max. I bet you'll start to miss this place after all. Because we sure are gonna miss you. Move them out!
That's a face that's out for revenge.
All yours now, sugar.
Let's get this done.
Yeah. All right. You heard the lady? Mount up.
What we got here?
Pendleton. Get on the bus.
Buckle up, get cozy. We got a long ride ahead of us.
I would like to cue. This is my favorite soundtrack.
It's a good one.
And the sound design in this game is fantastic. Kristin, so you mentioned Breath of the Wild, and we've got in the chat with us a very prominent member of the Silent Hill community, Kemi Rowe. Hi, Kemi Rowe. That's Whitney from the Voices in the Static podcast, a Silent Hill podcast, Kristin. And I'll mention that in a second, because we've got another scene with you.
You have a good nap, Weddle? Tell me something, puta. That true what I heard about you? Did you really do it?
Shut the hell up!
Fuck you, Weddle.
I said lock it up, damn it!
Oh, Jerry.
So, as part of my homework for tonight's stream, I was listening to Whitney's podcast, the Voices in the Static podcast, on Silent Hill Downpour, and it was interesting. I think one of her guests, I think it was October, mentioned, funnily enough, in the same sentence, mentioned both Silent Hill Downpour and Breath of the Wild. They were given October. They were given an example of the open world feature that you get in Silent Hill Downpour, and the fact that you can kind of go from immediately access these side quests in any order that you like, which might mean that you haven't got, say, sufficient weaponry and ammo, and suddenly stumble across this huge boss battle, but just that freedom to go wherever you want at any stage of the game, which mirrors. And he mentioned the fact that you also have this. They mentioned the fact that you also have this in Breath of the Wild, and in addition to that, you don't have these map pointers showing you where to go, so you just kind of have that open world, and you're not kind of handheld and told where to go. It's just interesting that both those games have those features.
Absolutely. And I'm now, given the order in which they came out, I wonder if a game like this kind of inspired the Zelda creators to make it more open world.
Resident Evil fans have been complaining for many years. They would just love a Resident Evil game with that kind of open world feel, but particularly one that doesn't have kind of these map pointers, on the screen to show you, these fetch quests just to go from A to B. And that's two things that kind of these games have in common. I haven't played Breath of Wild. Would you say that's up there as your favorite Zelda game?
Oh, absolutely. Because first of all, it is gorgeously designed. And I'm seeing a lot of great nature right here in this scene in Silent Hill too. I love the nature.
Oh,
it is crazy, Murphy.
oh.
Don't fall.
Whoa.
But I really like exactly what you were just saying, that you can decide whether or not you're going to go do a side quest. You can decide what order you're going to take challenges in. And very much so in Zelda. There are the main challenges on the way to the final boss battle you can do in any order.
Yes.
And then the thing is, once you've defeated Ganon in Breath of the Wild and done all of the main quests, it shows you your percentage completion in the game. And in one of the files we've defeated Ganon, we've done all the DLC stuff, and we're still only 35% of the way through the game. That's how much there is to do.
I think we're about to see you again.
That's far enough. Get your ass down on the ground now. Hands where I can see them. Do it.
Take it easy. I'm not going anywhere.
I said, on the ground now.
I was just looking for help.
And you just happened to lose your cuffs in the process? Save the bullshit.
This is stupid. I'll meet you back down at the bus, okay? You're gonna get yourself killed.
Shut up. Keep your goddamn hands where I can see them. Ah! Shit! Pull me up.
Hang on.
I'm slipping. Oh God.
Don't let go. Don't. Shit! Damn it.
Thanks for trying to help me back, girl.
I tried.
I appreciate it.
We've got a question that actually speaks to that scene, Christian. Where is it? Because it's not actually the first one. I know that the answer you... here we go. Right, so during... obviously people may know that Joe White is part of our team. Unfortunately, Joe couldn't be with us this evening, and Joe White voice acts Chris Redfield in the Resident Evil series. When Joe was voicing Chris Redfield, during that era of video gaming, recording sessions for actors playing lead roles in Resident Evil would be in separate booths. So the actors weren't able to form together, playing off of each other's physical and emotional performances. Was that the case for you? And if so, would your performance have been aided if you had had that opportunity to act alongside Murphy Pendleton's actor, David Boyd Conrad?
Actually, this is a huge thing because David and I were in the booth for all of our scenes together. We were together. It was a sizable booth so that there was plenty of room for both of us. And specifically the scene, I remember the scene we just watched with Anne falling off the cliff. David was such a generous actor. He was amazing to work with. He was this very grounded, kind man. And for that scene, we were literally grasping arms, and I was leaning back, pulling back against him. And then when Anne falls, I let go and fell down to the floor of the booth. So there were many moments in this game that I think would have been significantly less successful if we had not been in the booth together. And I'm extremely grateful that we were able to share that time and play. And we did, in fact, play off of each other. And it was it was so important, I feel, for the Murphy-Anne relationship.
Yeah. Well, that's fascinating, because so often when we speak to the voice actors from Resident Evil, only up until very, very recently, when you've got voice actors that also doing the motion cap, so very, very recently, are they afforded that ability to play alongside? So that's fascinating, and that's interesting. Just another thing that kind of sort of piques people's interest with Silent Hill Downpour. I don't know how ahead of the game that would have been, how kind of forward-thinking that was at the time, but that's interesting to know.
Yeah, I so much of what I do in the rest of my voiceover career is all alone in my booth. And, I've done a few other player characters in some video games where I did not have the reference of the other actors. And when I heard the final game, I thought, our performances aren't syncing up. I really wish I would have had more of the context. But thank goodness David and I were acting together.
Yes. And I think so important as well, particularly in this game, because, although, as we can see, the player takes on the role of Murphy Pendleton for the entirety of the game, it's interesting that, you very much are kind of like a co-lead in terms of the character, the prominence of the character to the narrative. I know that Whitney in the chat, Chemical Row, will be able to speak more about this, because I'm not quite sure. But as far as I'm aware, perhaps at some stage in development, I wanted to ask if kind of this was mentioned to you, if there was kind of any lines of dialogue that relate to this. That Anne was going to be a playable character, and I think either as DLC or as part of the main game. And I think it was that the origin of that narrative is what became the Anne story comics.
Got it. I mean, I have a very vague memory that they mentioned that at one point that was an idea, but it had been dropped long before they actually were recording us. So no, I did not ever record any dialogue for that, and it was never presented as a character option. But that would have been fantastic. Now I want to play that version.
This really freaked me out when I played this game for the first time. I was like, how did a wheelchair get... it's just, there's so many unnerving moments. I've heard people mention that there aren't as many jump scares in this game as they may like, but to me there was just this almost constant feeling of unnerving feeling. Just that little moment there when you see the wheelchair up there, and there's hundreds of little tiny moments like this during the game.
That's Evelyn.
And not just the wheelchair there, but the wheels are turning like
Yes.
it was recently being used.
That's Evelyn. Evelyn left her wheelchair there. I can't run.
I mean, I'm a 40-year-old man, and I remember when I was playing this for the first time, constantly, literally turning around, because I just, I don't know what I thought was going to creep up behind me, And also I have a husky, and I remember one time kind of being quite relieved that my husky was kind of sat next to me, almost like, as my backup. Again, I don't know what I thought was going to jump out of the shadows, but that, all joking aside, that's what this game really does to you. It really kind of immerses you in the atmosphere and makes you feel very unnerved and yeah.
Yeah, it's tense because, as you said, that there's a lot going on that is just a little bit off, or more than a little bit off. And with the atmosphere and the music, it's just a constant ratchet up of tension.
Power's out.
No, it's just Murphy talking to himself.
Oracle Dragon, did you want to ask some questions?
Hello, everybody. Oracle here. I have returned. Haha.
The Oracle.
I could ask one of my questions real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
Or we could take a question
I
from
can't
people in
use
the
that.
chat.
Oops.
One of the questions I have is, when you were given the role as Anna, were you given any insight in order to portray her properly? Like, any details about how she should be, her behavior, that she was a cop?
Oh yeah, we had a director there with us, and he was definitely giving us a lot of guidelines, and we'd been able to read the full script, so we had all the context from the full script of the game, and they helped me fill in the backstory a bit. I don't know that everything that ended up in the Anne story comic had been developed by then, because there are definitely details from that comic that I didn't have in my brain as I was playing the character. So they didn't give me everything that is now out there about the character, which is interesting from an actor's standpoint. But yeah, there was a director there giving us insight into what was going on in each scene, what the dynamics needed to be. They didn't have the game fully animated at that point. We did see some animatics from some of the scenes. I remember in particular they showed us the animatic for the boat scene at the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, I actually was going to ask if you were afforded, being able to see the cutscenes before you then were able to deliver your performance, or was the game in such early development that you were just, for example, just shown concept art of what Anne was going to look like?
Yeah, we had a lot of concept sketches and then the roughed out animatics of each scene. So it was just, it was very blocky animation with the characters just moving in like I remember in the boat scene, Anne's hand was like this and the gun was like just magnetized to her hand as she was going like this in the scene. So thankfully that was not how they intended it to be in the final, but that's what we saw.
I'm partial to something with a little less rust, but to each his own.
Look, I don't want any trouble. Just point the way out of town, and I'll keep right on going.
Now, who said anything about trouble? Just trying to be helpful, son. Name's Howard, by the way.
Murphy.
Heading to prison, are you, Murphy?
Just looking for a way out of town is all.
That's so. Afraid all the roads are out, every last one of them. Strangest thing.
What the?
Something wrong, son?
Did you see it? Up there in the window.
Oh. Why are ads rolling?
I suppose if you're really desperate, you could try the old Skytram. Cause it hasn't really
Are they?
kept up since the accident.
Oh?
I'll take my chances.
They shouldn't be.
There shouldn't be, but I'm currently getting one on my side because I have it open.
Good luck, Murphy. Hope
It's
you
so
find
weird.
whatever it is you're looking for.
I think doesn't an advert come up once every half hour?
What's the name of
this
Maybe.
place.
Silver Serpent,
It's
thank
not
you very,
set-
very much
it's
for
not-
cheers.
Not set that way. I'll double check later on the settings again.
Yeah, thanks, because we had that was an issue
Yeah.
on.
By the way, anyone else want to know what Howard the Postman did to get stuck in Silent Hill? He seems like such a nice guy.
Yeah, that's one of the things many people wonder about, because the only reason why you can see others in Silent Hill is because somebody has sinned.
And they're stuck there for a reason. And
Stuck there till they either die or repent.
I don't know for certain. I know that there's a. See, what's so fantastic about the run of comics for Anne's story is how very well received critically and by fans they were. Unfortunately, many of the Silent Hill comics aren't particularly good. But there's a series just before Anne's story that came out that's, I think, but it was received relatively positively, called Silent Hill Past Life. And I think you do get to see some of Howard's backstory in Past Life.
Oh, Kemi just wrote what
there we
it
go.
was.
Whitney in the chat, Kristin is letting us know. So thank you, Whitney. So Kristin, he was a slave, and he killed his master. And you find out about this in the comic run Past Life.
All right, I got the ultimate weapon now. A frying pan. Let's go.
gosh, I mean, I have mixed feelings about Howard being consigned to Silent Hill for
Yes, I mean, but then
killing his.
I think that again speaks to kind of what, and this is a question we're going to be asking Tom Hewlett when we interview him. He's kind of what role does the town of Silent Hill play in terms of, is it there as kind of like a purgatory? Is it there to sort of to punish the damned? To reflect people's nightmares? I mean, as a Silent Hill novice, I'm not I'm not going to answer that myself. I'm going to leave that to more seasoned players.
Yeah, let's go.
Well, here we go. Here we go. Water has been activated.
My
there
God.
has been a form of rain. Here we go.
Oh no.
The water reaches that breaker box.
Oh. Jeez.
This can't be happening.
You're dead, Murphy. Oh. I'm rotating the wrong way.
Ready for another question, Kristin?
Sure.
Run, Murphy.
Okay.
Run.
Oh.
Sorry.
I'll better.
I'm just fighting
You
with
okay
Murphy.
there, Batgirl? You're not about to. There we go.
Oh.
Right. So,
there may be some combat coming up.
Chronicled in the comic run that we've just been mentioning, Kristin, Anne's life since the assault on her father has been characterized by, this misconception she has about what Murphy did, her refusal to commit her father to long-term hospice care, sleeping. She sleeps with the prison warden to facilitate Murphy's transfer to her penitentiary. I mean, all of this leads eventually to her marriage breakup. Some may argue that this is a more engaging narrative to have been explored in Downpour. Do you agree? And what are your overall thoughts of this side of the narrative?
Oh. Yeah. This guy.
Oh yeah. I don't know. Do you want me to answer, or do you want to watch combat?
Oh shoot.
I mean, my favorite part of the Silent Hill situation is the moral equivalent. The moral questioning and helping people get off the revenge path. I'd kind of like to. I wish that they had been able to do both of their stories together.
Yeah,
I wish we could have. Yeah, having Murphy's story, but then find out more about Anne's story. Oh yeah, you're about to get trapped. Yeah, this is something I think at this stage you have to run away from. This is not something you can fight.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. No, you're doing. There we go. Back down. There we go.
Knock it over. Have that.
Run!
I'm trying. My. How can I say? It's like my. The thumb bar, the right one, is kind of messed up, so he turns around Weirdly. Oh no.
Again, can I just thank everyone in the chat for tuning in? Sorry I went a bit silent earlier. I think we may have had a problem. You guys may have been plagued with an advert, so apologies for that. There shouldn't be any adverts, certainly not at least more than one every hour. So we're just going to, behind the scenes, we're going to double check that you don't get any more. And thank you so much, people that have been cheering. PC Worth and Silver Serpent, thank you so much for cheering bits.
For the little music. Oh yeah, that thing
I
comes
completely
back.
agree, Kristin, with what you're saying, because in Resident Evil there's a particular game where you play as two protagonists. You play through the game as the first protagonist, Leon, and then after you complete the game as Leon, you then play the game again as the second protagonist, as Claire, and they kind of meet up at the end. That would have been a fantastic dynamic to have had between Murphy and Anne in Downpour. You almost feel that at some point in early development that was going to be the case.
Yeah, they have some wonderful interaction, but so much of it is just Anne being single-mindedly focused on arresting Murphy or whatever she's planning to do to him at that particular moment in time, and very little about them sharing their trauma until that very ending, the very ending part where finally it all comes out. And here's the interesting thing. So they didn't actually tell me that Anne had been married. I kind of assumed that her name was Cunningham because she'd taken her mother's maiden name so that Sewell wouldn't know who she was, or the other prison guards wouldn't know who she was.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they didn't tell me that she'd had a marriage that had broken up because of all of this, which is even worse than what I'd been. I mean, it's pretty obvious from the script that she had to sleep her way to the top, as it were, which is but I did not have the piece of information that it broke up her marriage. So that's really, she's in worse shape than I thought. Oh, that thing again.
You're back. Go away, man. Listen.
Yes, Whitney in the chat, Kristin, was just confirming that Anne's story was originally planned to be DLC.
Wow, that would have been really interesting to play.
Murphy just screams like a bitch. Sorry. Thought out
I
loud.
mentioned it when we get to the mines because, again, it would have really aided with your performance. Your scene with Murphy in the mines. As a player, you get to, obviously you see that she's about to shoot him and then she can't bring herself to do it. But in the comic, you get to see, there are flashbacks to her childhood. To Frank saying to her that once you pull the trigger you can't turn back time, and so you really get to kind of see the emotional turmoil play out in Anne's mind that then leads to her making the decision not to shoot Murphy, and she slumps down.
Right. Yeah, and the director gave me a little bit of that context, about the emotional turmoil and wanting to, having these warring thoughts about honoring her father, avenging her father. Those two desires being at war inside her, but obviously I didn't have all those great scenes that I've now seen little screenshots of.
No, I gotta go back.
Yeah. of her, her father teaching her how to shoot. All of that dialogue I didn't have access to.
Was it up or down?
You gotta go down. It's one of those types of things where you just keep running and running, and it's like you turn around. Oh.
Yeah, I figured.
I love that.
I figured.
I do, Aaron.
It was gonna be like the SH2 whenever you were just
ascending the prison staircase.
No, besides that one where you're trying to row the boat towards the lighthouse, and if you don't have it,
like forever.
Yeah, if you don't have it precisely on the lighthouse, you won't get anywhere. Oh my gosh. Go.
I think you spoke a little bit about this before, Kristin, but I was interested. Tom Hewlett, Downpour's producer and writer, had stated in an interview that the canon ending for Downpour, the truth and justice ending, and the conclusion to Anne's story, this sees her seek revenge, that you see in an additional end sequence with prison officer Sewell.
Yes.
Instead of the forgiveness ending, which plays out the same, but you just don't get that additional sequence. what are your feelings on this, and which ending do you feel is true to Anne's journey and her character arc?
Well, that ending B, the truth and justice, is my personal favorite because it felt, while we were recording, frankly, it felt really empowering to, go up to Sewell and say, we need to talk.
Yes.
That was a very satisfying line to play. But now that I've been thinking about it in the context of what Silent Hill is trying to teach you, she hasn't 100% learned the lesson. And noting back to the boat scene, so when Murphy gets the boat and is driving off across the lake, it's bright sunshine. He has done what he needed to do. He has released his demons, and Silent Hill is letting him go. And then when Anne shows up, the sunlight goes away. Because she has not let go.
Yes.
And she's the one who pulls them both back into Silent Hill for that final battle. So you can definitely argue that the truth and justice ending, even though she's let go of her vendetta against Murphy, she's still gonna, we don't know what she does to Sewell.
Yes. And again, I don't want to relate this again too much back to the comics, but it's interesting because there's a sequence in the comics where DJ Bobby Ricks, she has this moment with him, and I think the scene where she sort of pulls the trigger on the boat and she's kind of like, my father didn't believe in revenge, but I do. I think that I may be wrong, but other readers of the comic can say what they think. And it'll be interesting for you when you read the comics, Kristin. She has a conversation and exchange with the DJ that I think she almost misinterprets something that he says in terms of empowering herself and being strong. And I kind of, reading the comic, I almost felt that she took sort of some advice from Bobby Ricks and misinterpreted that, and that was what actually led to her sort of pulling the trigger. It was almost that he was suggesting to her that in order for her to leave Silent Hill, she had to be brave enough and to take that final step and to pull the trigger. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, honestly, I think that would be very much in character for her, because think about the world she's grown up in. She is a female prison guard in a world where there probably have been many work situations where she is the only woman around. And, we can see just glimpses of how the other prison guards treat her.
Yes.
With disrespect. How hard has she had to work to get to the position she's in a very male-dominated world? So I think it absolutely makes sense that the way she has been conditioned to think would lead her to interpret advice like that as you must be strong by showing force, rather than you must be strong enough to let it go, which is a very, very different sort of strength.
You put it so much better than I did. Yeah, that's exactly what was. I think, and I'll send you. We'll try and get scans of the comics, and we'll send you so you can see that. So, I think that's a perfect kind of reading of the scenario that I was seeing in the comic.
Sir, can you get down from there, please? Thank you. No? Okay. Sorry, it's the cat.
That girl has a cat called Newt.
He's messing with the lighting that I have on.
Excellent. Yeah, I've got my office door closed partly so my cats don't try to visit.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
And if anyone in chat has any questions for Kristin, please put them in the chat, and me and Oracle Dragon will do our best to ask them.
I've been collecting questions, so I can ask one already.
Go for it, Oracle.
This is from Goldheart. She says, how would you feel like companies like Sony can remaster the Silent Hill series?
I'm all for it, personally. I mean, I think it's great that older games are going to be given a little brush up so they visually look more like today's games. Because, I did worry about this when it came out. They were trying to be so ambitious with the 3D option and all that. And it had the potential to age very poorly. So I think it's great that they're re-releasing games in a remastered format.
I just wanted to say to any kind of our Resident Evil fans that have been following us that may not be too familiar with Silent Hill Downpour, I've been playing the Xbox 360 disc. Obviously, it was released on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, but you don't have to kind of go back 2 generations of platform, Kristin, in order to play this, because on a more recent console, I've got the Xbox One X, which is only one platform behind, the most recent releases, and it's backwards compatible, so you can play the Xbox 360 disc on an Xbox One X. And I have to say, on an Xbox One X, it's not a complete HD remaster, but it's upscaled and it looks fantastic, and it really does stand up with today's games. But obviously, this is survival horror. It's not just about pretty graphics; it's about the atmosphere and the environmental storytelling, and with the sound design that obviously gamers are going to really fully appreciate, when they're not watching this on a stream, when they play it themselves with headphones. The sound design and the environmental storytelling in this game is absolutely wonderful, and it's on a par with any survival horror game that I'm playing today. That's my personal opinion.
I'm glad to hear that. So I have my original PS3 disc somewhere. Clearly, I'll have to find a new way to play it.
I'm stuck.
Well, someone in the chat can let me know. I think, because obviously I know that on the most recent PlayStation consoles, you can play PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4 games on PlayStation Live, but that's only selected games. So I don't know if Downpour is one of the PlayStation 3 games that you can play on PlayStation. Is it not?
I haven't checked on the 5.
But
I tried to buy it.
We only have a Switch.
I tried to buy it on the PS5 and I couldn't find it. So.
And I don't think it's available on Steam, is it?
No, it's not. This is an emulator, Xbox 360 emulator. So this is why it could get a little bit choppy at times.
Well, I'm going to buy a Switch just for Breath of Wild, and anyone out there, I would suggest go and get yourself an Xbox 360 so that you can play some of these Silent Hill games, because, I mean, I enjoyed Homecoming, but Downpour is absolutely fantastic.
Silent Hill. Silent Hill. What am I missing?
Have you got the you've got to get the wire from the kettle, haven't you, to then take that up again?
Is it from the kettle?
Oh no, it's in one of the drawers.
Is it? I don't know.
Ready for another question?
Yeah.
I'm lost.
This one comes from M. Gray, who asks, who is your favorite character in Downpour besides Anne? How about the whole Silent Hill series?
Okay, so here's where I probably lose a lot of street cred with all of you. I'm a real scaredy cat about horror. So I actually was not even familiar with the Silent Hill series before I was cast in this, and I have not seen. I've not played the other games. So all of you on this live stream know more about Silent Hill than I do, and I'm ashamed to admit that, and I'm sorry. But yeah, I get very nervous about horror. I have one of my best.
Oh, go upstairs,
one of my best.
Girl.
Sorry,
Kristin.
It's okay. I was just going to say one of my best friends is a horror author. He's really, really good, but I've only read a couple of his books because they're so scary.
Who's this author?
His name is John C. Foster.
Ooh.
I highly recommend him. He's written some phenomenal books. The one that disturbed me most was called Dead Men, and it's, he's such a good writer, but he came up with so many creative ways to kill people. Oh.
But I think, Silent Hill, I'm preaching to the converted here in the chat, but it's not about gore and that kind of type of horror, is it? It's very much psychological and emotional, and that's again, well, I don't particularly expect or kind of need sort of cheap jump scares when I'm playing Downpour. It's very much that constant feeling and that you get from the atmosphere, from the narrative, from the characterization.
What happened here?
Yeah, I would agree. In my mind, psychological horror is more terrifying than just flat out gore. Because gore, it gets to a certain point, and you're like, oh, come on, it's just more blood. And your brain starts to tune it out. It gets repetitive, but if it's messing with your concept of reality, that's a very different thing.
And you gotta like it. That's what the Silent
That
Hill
girl, I
series
think you
is.
need to. If you go to the bottom, there's a drawer in one of the rooms in the right, and you pick up the wire for the lift. This is just a little. This is for getting a gun that you can wait. You don't need to do that.
Oh.
That's the code for a room on the left. But if you go down onto the ground floor, I think there should be a drawer in one of the rooms where you'll pick up the cord.
But I might need this gun, GT. What if I get attacked?
Ready for another question?
Let's do it.
Matt LaRox, 1985 says, would you like to be reprised the role if the opportunity ever arose?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Especially now that more has come out canonically as far as her backstory with the comic. There's clearly so much more to play. Is that a dead dog? Oh, dear.
Yeah.
It is, I'm afraid, yeah. In fact, you see there's a sign early on in the game about a lost dog, and I think that might be him.
It was 2. Alright. Why can't I change you?
But we are going to be here all night if we try this puzzle back down.
Are you sure?
Or you're going to get a gun, which you'll find another gun pretty soon. It's really not that.
Alright, but
important.
if I die, I'm blaming you.
You can, definitely. Right, so you go down there and all the way down to the bottom, and then on the right, in that room there, I think in one of the drawers you should find some cord.
You just threw the... Alright, so I guess the frying pan is the ultimate weapon. Yeah, one of these.
Yeah, I enjoy the fact that you can only carry one weapon at a time in this. I think that ups the strategic difficulty.
I agree. Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I've heard people complain about the fact that you need certain items to do certain things, and if you find, for example, the kind of the hook shot that you use to pull down the railing, the ladders, it can be frustrating if you can't find one when you need one. Resident Evil gamers will be familiar with item boxes where you keep spare inventory. You keep spare items in these inventory boxes. I just find a particularly prominent area within Silent Hill, say a house that or for example I use the park as a central hub, and I just literally, once you pick up an item, you can just put it down there, and then if you need it again, you just go back to where you left it. So if you just leave the item yeah, sorry Batgirl, it's upstairs. It's in a drawer upstairs. Sorry.
I'm gonna throw this knife at you, GT. And throw it.
Right, I've been leading Batgirl astray. I'm gonna ask another question.
I grabbed the power cord, but I put it for the kettle.
Yeah, there's 2 types of cord. One's for the kettle, but you want the one that is it's in there. I'm sure it's in there.
That's the power cord for the kettle. That was where the power cord for the kettle was.
I'm certain it's in one of the drawers downstairs. We'll have to ask someone in chat where it is. It's in the basement. Oh, thank you, Whitney. Go down into the basement then. I should ask questions and stop telling you where to go, Batgirl, because I'm leading you astray.
This is what happens when you haven't played this game in a while.
Hey, Christian.
Oops.
What led you to the role of Anne Marie Cunningham, and what was the audition process like?
So this was I would consider it an extremely random chance that I got the opportunity to be in this game, because at the time I did not have an agent for video games, or anyone who was submitting me for video games, but I was a member of a site called Voice123, which is basically a database of auditions. Any client can post an audition up there. Any actor with a subscription can submit an audition. I'm still on this site all these years later. It's a good place to connect with clients. And it was one of those auditions that it popped up in my list of auditions for the day, and I thought, this isn't really in my wheelhouse, but I'll submit an audition. So I did, and I didn't think anything more about it. And I thought, there's no way they're even going to consider me because, I don't even have a video game demo. Most people are probably submitting their video game demo. So it was, it was months later. It was not a rapid process at all. So I submitted that audition through Voice 123, and then it was several months later when, out of the blue, I got a message saying, we'd like you to come in for a callback. And so I went to a studio here in New York and did a callback. I may actually have read with David at that point, because I know I read with 2 different guys. So I think I read with David then. And so the funny thing is, I left that callback absolutely convinced there was no chance I had the role because the director kept telling me I sounded too happy and too upbeat. It's like, you have too sunny an outlook on life. Can you just be angrier? And so that was the feedback I was getting all through the callback. And I thought I could, okay, so, that was fun. All right, back to my normally scheduled commercial auditions. And then it was like seriously 9 months later that they called and said I had the role. Now, interestingly, if any of you pay attention to the E3 conference every year, there was a trailer played at the 2011 E3 conference for Silent Hill Downpour, which has a line of my dialogue in it. And that was before I knew that I had the role. So the line of dialogue in that trailer is actually from the callback. That is something I recorded at the callback. So all of you guys, anyone who saw the 2011 E3 Silent Hill Downpour trailer knew I had the role before I did.
What a way to kind of find out. Yeah.
Yes. So it was really a surprise, because it'd been such a long time since the initial audition and then the callback where I was too happy. And then finally it was about a year-long process from the initial audition to finally saying, okay.
Yes.
And I forgot there was one more. There was a second callback, which was me and David reading together.
Right.
And we read through several scenes together. So this was a second callback. And at the end of it, they said, okay, you are Anne and Murphy.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
And again, I've never heard that before, where even as part of the, not just after you get the role, but even beforehand as part of the callbacks that you're recording, with the actor that you may be playing alongside. Wow.
Yes. So, I'd forgotten that until just now that there were 2 callbacks. So I had the initial audition through Voice 123, callback several months later, and then, 9 months later, there was that secondary callback where they told us, okay, you have the roles.
Batgirl, sorry, Christian, Batgirl, you definitely have to go down into the basement.
Well, I tried to smash it, it didn't work.
Use a spanner, but also there's a room that I think that you may have missed, because it does look very similar down here. It's easy to miss it, where there's a television and the wire is in the room. There's like a TV that you turn on and off.
The place I need to go to is this, and I tried to smash the lock.
It will smash.
I've tried. Oh, okay. Sir?
Yeah, get a different weapon.
Sir?
The spanner will smash it open, but that should work as well, no? We'll use the spanner.
Yeah, you need a different weapon.
Oh, he charged that one.
Also, if I remember right, didn't we interview another voice actor who said did a lot of stuff in Voice 123? I recall somebody was talking about that.
They're one of the original online audition sites. They launched back, 2004, I think, and
wow.
They were actually one of the very first places that voice actors could find solid voiceover jobs without having an agent.
Ooh, nice. Because I remember we did talk to somebody, and they did mention Voice 123, but I can't remember who it was, and they just went on about how that's where they got found out and all that stuff, and it's like, oh, sweet.
I think that door, Batgirl, will just open automatically, or will open for you once you get the cord, which is, I'm sure is...
because you need the cord for the lift.
Yeah, but there's a room around here where you go into, and there's a television in that room.
That's where that room leads to, because you need the cord for this in order to go up. So
pull out the guidebook.
No, Kemi just wrote the what I have to do, but I tried to smash it and it didn't work.
That's strange.
Yeah.
Let's see. Here's a question from M.
Door
Greg.
that keeps opening, but I don't know where it is.
Right.
M. Greg asks, did any other acting performances in
you got a
film,
question?
TV, gaming, or other mediums inspire your portrayal of Anne?
Ooh, let me think about. I mean, not totally specifically, but I do always try to channel very strong women. I don't think I had a very specific performance in mind when I was recording this, but yeah, I'm. It's just I try to be as aware of performances out there as I can, and just sort of have an idea of what is being a strong woman, and how do you convey that vocally. I mean, gosh, I'm trying to think when we were recording this, who would it have been? No. Sorry, that was a vague answer.
Batgirl, you're definitely doing the right thing. You used the wrench to smash the lock.
Yeah. I'm gonna try reloading and see if that does anything.
Yeah, because you're definitely doing the right thing. You just you smash it open with the wrench. It's interesting that you mention before about strong women leads, and of course your character kind of finds herself in this, generally speaking, a male-dominated world. And before we came on, and I've got to be very careful, not to ask loads of questions about this. You're a big Doctor Who fan.
Yes, yes, I am.
And of course, the very, very small-minded within that community seem to have problems with the fact that their beloved role was being handed over to a female actor, and concentrated on the irrelevant, as opposed to frankly, is this actor going to be up to the the only thing that we're interested in is the ability of the actor, not their gender. So it must have been fantastic for you as a Doctor Who fan, and as a female actor as well, to have seen the role finally. After all these years. I mean, literally go back to the 60s that this has been portrayed by a man.
Yes, absolutely. I was a huge fan of Jodie Whittaker from Broadchurch. So, as soon as she was announced, it was like, she is such a tremendous actor. I mean, there was no question in my mind that she was going to bring something very interesting to the role. And in fact, her very first episode, she did quite a bit that I thought was wonderful, as far as I felt like she was pulling from David Tennant's performance as well as Peter Capaldi, her immediate predecessor. And I've noticed throughout her tenure in the role that I feel like she has been attempting to pull in little bits from the other doctors into her own performance. And she does I know she's good friends with David Tennant, so she does a lot of very 10th Doctor-y things. There's a lot of the face scrunching, like, that sort of thing.
Oops.
I think you need you just use the wrench.
Let's see. There it goes. It's off.
That sounded better. Yeah, interesting. The game was telling you that was the correct thing just from the sound effect.
Yeah.
It was it was definitely a glitch before Batgirl, because I saw you
I couldn't see it. I couldn't see the lock that time.
You were hitting it with a wrench like 1,000 times.
Yeah, I couldn't see the lock itself.
And I want to be very clear to Resident Evil fans that are and those that are new to Silent Hill and attempting to play this game. Again, back in the day when this was originally released on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, there may have been little glitches. I've heard people sort of talk about frame rate drops and glitches, for example, that Batgirl was just experiencing. Let's be very clear, but in order to stream this evening, Batgirl, with all her technical amazement, has put together, she's streaming this on an Xbox emulation. So the best way to play this glitch-free, upscaled and looking wonderful, as I say, is very easy. Simply just playing it on an Xbox One, the original Xbox 360 disc, and it looks wonderful. You will not get these glitches. You won't get frame rate drops.
Oh, right, the screamer.
Yes.
Get up, bitch! Ne chinga conmigo, puta! Hey! Let go, asshole! You don't understand!
Smack her with the wrench. Can I kick her?
Did you get her? I can't tell. Oh, the blood sprays. Ugh.
I think she's. Oh no, he did. Rip. Ooh, run, Murphy, run. I'll take that. No. I think that wrench might be dying slowly.
Yes, and
I think that calls for a cupcake, Batgirl.
Alright. Forgot I have cupcakes. Completely forgot I had cupcakes right next to me.
You mentioned, Kristin, that you weren't familiar with video game voice acting before, and of course Silent Hill is very much known to be classic survival horror. It's characterized by a lack of fast-paced combat, with a much more heavy focus on slower-paced psychological horror, as we discussed earlier. Am I talking over a cutscene? No, let's go.
No.
Did the survival horror genre present you with challenges as an actor that you may not have been expecting from a video game production?
Not having had a lot of experience with video games and the recording process before that, honestly, I found it easy because the way the script was presented to us in the booth was as completely actable scenes. I come from a theater background, so working my way through a scene and finding the beginning, middle, end, and the why is that scene there? Why is this scene important? Why does it need to happen? It was incredibly easy, actually, to play the script scene, because it was a logical, emotional progression, and we recorded the scenes in order. So from my standpoint as an actor, I feel like it was significantly easier than doing, say, all of the random prompts, like if you interact with the character multiple times and they have randomized responses. I didn't have to record. There's only one time, I think, where Anne has those randomized responses when she's telling Murphy to leave her alone after she has decided not to kill him that first time.
Yes, that you get. There's about 3 or 4 different responses. Yes.
Yes. So some games have layers upon layers of those, and I always find those a little bit more difficult because they're kind of disconnected from the main emotional drive of the story, because they're purely intended to get the player back on track. So all of Anne's scenes in this, I found, were just little plays. So yeah, it was easy.
It's interesting you mentioned that, if I'm right to think you're referring to when, after Anne slumps back in the mines, and she's chosen not to shoot
Yes.
Murphy. And then as the player, you can go up to Anne, and she just tells you basically to bugger off. But then, obviously as gamers, we all love to constantly go up and up and up and again, just to check if the dialogue is going to be slightly different each time.
Yeah.
And I think there's 3 different ways that Anne tells Murphy to go away, but kind of in the same kind of cadence and tone. But then the last one, it's interesting. The last one she does is
the last one
is very different. She's almost your tone is totally different when you deliver the line, and the line is something along the lines of, you say, "Oh, I didn't know that was you. I thought it was somebody else," and it at the time it jars because it's quite different. But actually, in the comics, again, sorry to go back to those, but Anne there's actually a scene that plays in Anne's mind. I think involving her husband, and it almost feels like in the game it's like she her mind wanders elsewhere, and that particular line that's delivered in a different way kind of for me refers back to the thing that she's replaying in her mind.
Yes, and in fact the line is, "I thought we were someone else," not "I thought you were someone else." I thought we were someone else, which is interesting, right?
Yeah. I'll have to go back and play that. Okay.
That scared the Jesus out of me. I didn't expect her to jump on my back.
Yeah, sorry. We were and we were having this whole totally different conversation while you were dealing with that. You were very brave, Batgirl. Very brave.
Oh yeah, that got me the first time because you're just not expecting the screamer to jump on your back. So have you got the game tokens? Because you need to.
I do.
Oh, there we go. So here we go. Oh, just on your left. There we go, Batgirl.
Oops.
All right. How good are you at these Victorian games?
Clearly not very good. Woo!
This has got to be the ultimate thing to buy if you're a Silent Hill collector. I don't know if you can get a replica of this.
Oh!
Thing.
Yeah. Or you can get a pachinko machine.
And that's what you get for mentioning the pachinko machine.
That's what I get.
Yeah. I mean, we laugh, Kristin, because unfortunately, every single installment of late that Silent Hill fans have been getting has been anything but a video game. You've got mugs, you've got T-shirts, and I'll be corrected, I'm sure, by more knowledgeable Silent Hill fans in the chat, but I believe that this was the last sort of kind of main game installment. In terms of the Silent Hill timeline and main game releases, this was the last one in the series.
I believe you're correct. Oh, it's not through here? Alright, cool. Can I just jump off the cliff? Make everything more easier?
Did you know you've got to get the tokens from that machine in order to get onto the
No, yeah, I got the ticket.
Oh, you've got the ticket. Oh, cool. So go back to the oh yeah, you need a key yeah, there we go. Squeeze through there.
Can I? No, I can't squeeze.
Yeah, there we go.
He's not doing
He's
it.
been in prison, he's skinny. Go to the left, to the far left.
Oh, it's over here. No. Murphy,
No, to the far.
Oh, it's between the
Go
house.
to the far left. No, you're there. You're in the right place. No, turn around.
Oh, it's this one. Okay, my bad. I think Book of Memories was before Downpour. Oh.
I'm going to get very nerdy now, but you need a key for that.
Do I?
That girl.
Or
yeah, I think. Yeah, it's like a rusty key.
Oh, I have it.
I don't think Book of Memories is canon.
I don't think so.
But we'll discuss that on a nerdy podcast.
I played it. I wasn't very fond of it. Oh no! Ah! Whoa.
So, Kristin, you mentioned in the other room earlier, your husband and children were playing Breath of the Wild.
Yes.
Ah!
So you probably don't want them coming in and seeing Silent Hill.
No, my son is 7, so.
Oh, crikey, definitely not.
You stay down!
Oh, multiple screamers. Oh,
I
hey.
want to say something about the screamers because I've seen
Can't I
fans.
target you? Oh, because I'm not pressing the trigger. Come on, try me!
The thing that I like about the screamers is that they, people have complained that they actually, they have the audacity to have a bit of strategy about them. So, you're not just, I'm thinking about the skeletons that you have in Hyrule Forest, in Hyrule Field, that, are very easy to do away with. But, the screamers, they move and they dodge.
She's twitching.
And I actually like that because I have seen some gamers complain that they found the screamers frustrating, but I actually like the fact that there's some strategy to it, and that you don't just kind of button mash in order to just easily defeat them. You have to kind of run around a bit and kind of hit them once, then move and dodge and weave. And I think it's great that they put up that kind of challenge.
I find that much more engaging. Yes, you don't want to. What's the point of an enemy that just is completely predictable because that just gets feeling too easy. Breath of the Wild has these lizard things called the Zalfos, which are very strategic.
Okay.
And very fast. So I like it that you never know exactly which way they're going to jump at you.
And you would say, would you, that for fans like myself of Ocarina of Time, that Breath of Wild very much is kind of in that spirit and offers that kind of immersion and that open world feel that perhaps we didn't really
totally
get so
immersive,
much after Ocarina.
It's so immersive. It's much more so than Skyward Sword.
Yes.
I mean, it's even, honestly, I feel like Breath of the Wild is significantly more open world than this.
Well, we won't have time, Kristin, to play all of it, but once you, as I'm sure you know, once you leave the mine section, you then enter the Silent Hill scenario of the game, and the main mission is to escape Silent Hill. That's where you get the open world aspect of this game, and you get the side quests, and the environmental storytelling is incredible. And in the comic as well, you get more scenes between Anne and Slater.
I read about that.
It kind of speaks to whether JD was was intoxicated when he was in charge of the train.
All right.
Locked.
And another thing that I loved about this game, are you familiar with some of the tracks that you hear on the radio?
Yes.
I don't want to grab the chair.
Because that's what really got me on the first play. There's a couple of tracks by an artist I wasn't familiar with before I played the game, Anna Turnheim. One track, Words of Love, and another one, Off the Road. And other tracks that you come across which just again, I don't know, just adds like another sort of emotional layer to the game.
Oh.
Yeah, and if you go up to that TV and turn it on and off a few times, you get some very, very disturbing.
I don't think it's gonna be as disturbing as in, Silent Hill 2, where you literally hear you killing your wife.
Oh, crikey. No spoilers, I haven't played Silent Hill 2 yet.
Oh, my bad.
No, I'm not going to
Well,
blame
it's
you.
one of the.
I'm not going to blame you for spoiling a game that's like 20 years
It's
old.
one of the endings. It's one of them. You can get that one, or you can get different ones. I think that's the bad ending, isn't it? Oracle?
Doesn't
If I
sound like
remember
a good
correctly,
ending.
it is.
I think so.
I think that's the
bad ending.
in water ending.
Yeah.
So there should be an axe just around the corner for you there.
Well, he has a crowbar. Crowbar works.
I know it did. And don't worry, Christian, if we don't have enough time before you have to go for because the next main scene with Anne is at the end of this mine section. We've got them lined up, so we'll play them out.
Right. In fact, actually, if I can, I might. I'm gonna mute and turn off my screen for just like 2 minutes, and then I'll be right back. I'm just gonna check in and see how long I can go here.
Absolutely, and we'll get some more questions ready for you when you get back. Thank you.
Great. I'll be back in a moment.
All right. So while she goes check on that, we all wanna give Oracle.
It's all time for some cupcakes.
It's some time to give Oracle a little happy birthday love.
Yes, happy birthday, Oracle. Oracle, it's Oracle's birthday today.
Yay!
And she's spending it in Silent Hill.
We're in Silent Hill for your birthday.
Celebrating my birthday in Silent Hill is my love.
I did get some cupcakes.
We're gonna have to get the joke ending for you at the end of the game, Oracle, with Pyramid Head cutting your birthday cake.
Yeah, I was saying that in the Discord, like, can we get the birthday cake ending?
Okay.
I take these video games far too seriously. I don't like joke endings.
Really?
Just from the point of view that I'm a grumpy old man, and I just, it's Silent Hill. It's all got to be haunting and depressing, and
Then you won't. You need to get the dog in.
Yes. And thank you, everyone. Birthday wishes NPC Word for donating some bits for us. Thank you.
Thank you, PC Word.
The best ending. Yes.
It is. No cupcakes for GT, says Jerry.
Is the dog ending? Is that from Silent Hill 2 then?
Yes.
Okay.
But it's really tricky the way that you have to get it. Isn't there just like one thing that you need to precisely do in order to get this precise ending?
I think there is. And if you ever get the chance to play Left 4 Dead on the Steam, we can always get the the dog ending theme song as the credit reel.
Oh my god, yes. The UFO ending, yes!
Yes. All the UFO endings. Welcome back.
Oh, just in time. Oh, when you look through
yes, you need to get all of the endings, and then you need to play it with the New Game Plus, and then do a particular thing in order to get it. It's weird. Oh, Murphy's seen better days.
Might not guess by looking at it, but this place used to be filled with all kinds of visitors. Moms and dads and little kids and...
Should I skip this?
It was a really nice place. I'm sorry.
You are?
Name's JP, and that, sir, is the Devil's Pit. 490 meters straight down to the blackest soul of the earth. The deepest limestone sinkhole north of...
That's fascinating, but... Sorry. Something tried to kill me back there. You haven't seen anyone strange wandering around here, have you?
First time visitor, huh?
Listen, if there's a quick way out of here, I'd really appreciate it if you just tell me.
Way out? What good would that do? Sorry. We, don't get too many visitors these days.
Right. Well, be seen.
If you head through the cavern, there's a train. It can take you to Hillside. Boy, I tell you, all the kids, they, just love that little train.
How about you show me?
Sorry. Someplace I gotta be.
Thanks for the tip.
In case we don't have time, I'm just going to find Batgirl.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to find the cutscene with Anne and Murphy at the bottom of the mines just before you leave the mine, and I'll send that to you as well because that's not in the list of cutscenes that I sent you.
Okay.
Where's the best place to send it? Shall I send it to you in the
You
Discord?
can send it on the Discord.
Cool.
Oh, there's a dude hanging. Woo!
Yeah, the scenes that you see when you look through those viewers are just the hands that the bloody hand is freaky.
If anybody else has some more questions to ask, we have a few more minutes to spare, and ask your questions now.
Okay. Right. Woo! Maps. Sure. Let's go.
Now, Kristin, do you think you'll ever play this game?
Oh, something just dragged that body.
Ooh, that's... Yeah, I think I could... So, somewhat pathetically, when it first came out, we got together with some friends and we all tried together to play it, and we were such terrible gamers at that point that we fell off that tree log that you have to cross like 10 times in a row.
Oh, no!
I remember a lot of people said they had a hard time crossing a tree, then you realize, oh, it's not really that difficult.
No, but that was a little disconcerting. Like, oh wow, we need to go down to the street and find a random 12-year-old who can help us.
Oh no.
Raisin Samurai asks, what's your favorite book?
Me?
Oh.
Yes.
Lord of the Rings.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Excellent choice.
I know it's not technically one book, but I mean honestly, it's one story.
Are you looking forward to the Amazon serialization?
I'm always curious about the film versions. I mean, it's intriguing to see the different anyone's envisioning of how you bring a world like Middle Earth to the screen. And I have to say, when my husband and I, when we were dating and moved in together, we moved in and just discovered we had 2 complete sets of the director's cut DVDs of the Lord of the Rings series. So that's where we are with enjoying our Peter Jackson. So I'm always intrigued to see what people are thinking visually, and how you create that world.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of the best. The films, kind of one of the best sort of transfers, of a book to screen.
Oh.
Because unfortunately, Resident Evil fans. Not so much Silent Hill, because I think the first Silent Hill film was very popular, wasn't it? But
Yeah.
Resident Evil fans, we're yet to get kind of a satisfactory on-screen dramatization of the video game. But I know that the first Silent Hill film was very popular.
So I stopped here because it has my first name. Bat. It's the Bat Lament.
Hey.
Oh, there we go. Shout out to
It's
Bat
time
Lair.
for the Bat Lair.
It's time for the Bat Lair. Let's
All right.
go.
Bring on the bats.
I think so. We've got. Am I right to think we've got about 20 more minutes with you, Kristin?
Yes.
We'll see. But I think that might give Batgirl enough time to get to the to your cutscene with Murphy in the mines. But if not, we've lined it up ready so that we can play that to your fans.
Climb, Murphy. Climb.
Climb, Murphy. You can do it. You can do it.
We believe in you.
Use your feet, man.
He's just using all that
There
upper
you
body
go.
strength, man. The guns. Really?
Oh no, there's another ad playing.
What the heck? I didn't have them set. Yeah, I can see it on my side too.
Maybe Twitch changed something.
I think so, because I don't have it set to pre-roll ads.
And it's over 20 seconds long.
Well, mine was... Yeah, it has 2 playing on my side.
Oh boy.
Oh, I can't jump this way?
Nope.
Sorry for the ads. This is Twitch.
Yeah, we blame Twitch. We don't. I don't have them pre-rolling or anything. Oh, great. So we're stuck in the cave. Alright, let me grab a rock. Can I break this? Hello? Hello?
Kristin, we have a question from Bloody
Yeah.
Eye. He's got a great
Okay.
name, Bloody Eye, in the chat. And Bloody Eye asks, how was Anne different from characters you've voiced before and since? And what about, do you think... Sorry, this isn't my fault. This is terribly written by Bloody Eye. Come on, Bloody Eye, sort your grammar out. Too much blood in his eyes. And what about her? Sorry, and what about Anne? Do you think makes her such a beloved character to this day?
So as far as comparing to characters I've played since, she is significantly more single-minded on her. She has a deeper need. You know, a lot of my other player characters in video games are moms looking for their kids, which is, that's a big thing as well, but it's not a deep-seated years long. It's like, oh, Davy Jones just kidnapped my kid. I have to go rescue her. It's in the moment. It's immediate. It's not planned for years and years and years. And I think maybe that's part of what feeds into making her important to Silent Hill fans, that she is not somebody who is doing this just spur of the moment. She has such a powerful and deep-seated reason for everything she does. And even though you don't always know why as you're playing through the game, you can tell that she's not evil. You know, you can tell that she's not somebody who is just going after Murphy for evil reasons.
Yeah.
She's got very intense reasons, and that resonates with people, I think, because having something that drives us in life is hopefully something we all find at some point, but maybe not revenge focused.
And I think, again, for a character that isn't a playable character, and obviously it's unfortunate that we didn't get to enjoy your role in the DLC that was planned, but just even in terms of sort of the significance that Anne has in the narrative, as played out in the main game, even though she's not a playable character, the endings that you get, they're not so much affected, although they're affected by Murphy's morality choices. So, for example, you get the Truth and Justice ending, and you get the other ending. The endings, they're not sort of focused on Murphy's morality. They're actually focused on Anne's, like you said. The endings that you prefer in terms of whether she seeks revenge on Saul or not. I just find it interesting that those endings, they're very much focused on on Anne's morality and not Murphy's.
It's the relationship between the two. It's, because like I said, by the time you get to the boat, Murphy has done what Silent Hill needs him to do. Silent Hill is ready to let him go. And then Anne pulls them back in. So yeah, it's her backstory that drives the final ending of the game. And I think that's why it was maybe frustrating for people to not know more about that initially. And that's what made people so curious about her part of the story, because she clearly is going through a whole lot in Silent Hill that we never get to see until the Anne story comic. But yeah, you're absolutely right that all those endings are the relationship between Murphy and Anne. They're not about Murphy because he's already done what he needs to do.
Oh, I can't go there?
What you need to do, Batgirl, there's like a wooden block that you can move. That moves, I've got to tell you, compared to the way that we have to slap wooden blocks around in Resident Evil, it's so smooth in Silent Hill. If you get there's like a wooden block and you use it to prise open the doors.
I need to pry it open? Oh, it's this
Have
thing.
you? Yeah, if you get the wooden block and put it so that where it should be in the corner somewhere, and then
I found it.
Yeah, there we go. How cool does that feel compared to Resident Evil?
So different.
Yeah.
It's like I don't get to push it with my shoulder. What?
Sorry, Kristin, this is what happens when people over the age of 30 stream. We start talking about moving furniture around and how...
Hey, I'm still 29.
I was talking about myself. Oh, my word, Batgirl, I wasn't referring to you. I was talking about myself. I mean, I was talking about the weather when we first started streaming. No.
I was like, I'm still 29.
I'm not...
I guess I won't even tell you my age.
That's twice you think oh my god, after asking you yesterday whether you were how familiar you were with the Silent Hill series, that's 2 slaps you owe me. But no, I promise you, I was referring to myself, not you, Batgirl.
Oh no, that thing.
Can I ask a question real quick?
The birthday girl has a question.
Yes, Oracle.
Kristin, can you tell the fans where they can follow you or find out any projects you have in the future?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on Twitter as @Kristin Price VO. My content is mostly cat focused and occasionally voiceover focused.
Cat focused content.
And the other thing is, I'm mainly an audiobook narrator these days. I haven't really. Silent Hill was such a fluke for me because I haven't pursued video games to the extent that many other actors have, partly because most of them are cast and recorded in Los Angeles rather than New York, so I'm on the wrong coast for a lot of the work. And there are just so many avenues you can follow in voiceover that it hasn't been one that I've heavily pursued. So if you're following me looking for upcoming video game projects, at the moment there are not any, but there are a bunch of good audiobooks coming out.
I hope one day you'll return to games and voice a very cool character.
I'm all for that. Let's put that out into the universe. Maybe my agent can do something about it.
Hello, universe. Bring her back.
It would be wonderful to hear you voice that in the comic book narrative. That would be fantastic.
That would be, and now here's an idea. Maybe let's put this out into the universe too. There are so many audio drama podcasts being produced now. Maybe some of those comics can be serialized as audio dramas.
Ooh.
We'll have to speak to Tom Hewlett about that. I'll have to find out who the writer was for Anne's story, and of course.
Children laughing. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's always very freaky.
Never not creepy.
You're the
because not so. It wouldn't be right. The actor that played Murphy, not so prominent in terms of, doing further voice work and things like that afterwards. So I imagine you guys are not in contact anymore.
No, I haven't actually been in contact with him, but he was mainly a stage actor.
Okay.
I actually thought those were like dudes I needed to go talk to.
I have to say, as a section, as an environment, I love Devil's Pit.
Oh.
I think.
What's that?
Ma'am.
I
whatever you for.
Just to run.
Oh, that looks bad.
Oh yeah.
Nope. Just run. What you need to do I think you've played this before, but
Sir,
get to the room with the dynamite.
She knows what she's doing, GT.
Sir!
Sorry, Oracle?
She knows what she's doing.
Do I?
We believe in you. Whitney's yelling at her. Beat him! Beat him, Rod!
I'm so nervous for you right now.
Break it!
What's so hilarious is one of my favourite bands, Doves, who are.
Oh, hello.
One of their tracks plays on the radio. Oh, there we go. Well done. And
I still hear the creepy music.
It's very in stark contrast to the.
Oh!
Yeah, I never thought I'd get to hear Doves in a Silent Hill game.
Go, Murphy, go!
Okay.
You'll have to stream yourself playing this game one day, Kristin, because that's what some of the voice actors are doing these days. They're actually setting up their own Twitch channels and they're playing their own they're playing their own video games.
Playing it for the first time and reacting for the first time.
Yep. Oh, looking the wrong way. Oh, what are you doing on this side?
Wait a minute. I've never
hanging out.
Oh, there's Slater
Yeah.
again. I'm
That's Slater
fascinated
again.
to know whether he was intoxicated or not. The comic kind of hints that he was, but then again, because Anne questions him on this, and she says, "I saw you drinking," and then there's a cell in the comic book where Slater says, "Are you sure you saw me drinking?" And the hand that was holding a drink bottle is now holding pills. It's almost suggesting that Silent Hill is kind of tricking Anne's mind into thinking that she sees Slater holding like this bottle of whiskey.
Circumstantial evidence and whatnot.
I mean, are pills better?
Yeah, I read
Yeah.
And Greg says he's just hanging around.
Damn fucking liars. Relax, man. We're just talking here. What happened? That was an accident.
Are you
I didn't mean to
sure?
hurt nobody. I didn't murder nobody. Murder's a mortal sin. You go to hell for murder. Ain't that right, Murphy?
No.
Surely your mama taught you about what's right and what's wrong.
Those kids had parents that might disagree with you. The paper mentioned negligence.
It was an accident.
You were completely hammered. There were witnesses.
And how about you, Murphy? Someone know all your dirty little secrets?
I never hurt anybody that didn't deserve it. And I sure as hell never hurt any kids. I wouldn't be able to live with myself.
You call this living? Can you imagine what that's like, Murphy? Living all your life inside someone else's lie?
That's the line there. Inside someone else's lie.
Listen to us talk. As if anybody out there gives a damn. When we're the ones who decide if we can live with what we've done.
Do I want to be mean?
Console.
Ah, okay.
You gotta be nice.
Console him. Definitely console him.
Fine.
You see here, Murphy?
Oh, he still jumps. It still don't matter.
Helps you get a better ending.
Yes.
This is what I like about Silent Hill. It reflects what your sins are and makes you question yourself. Then you realize what kind of sin you have and that you're trying to find redemption. Many just seek the other alternative and just kill themselves.
M. Greg says, I want blood.
Girl wants blood.
I think that speaks though to the strength of the storytelling and the characterization in this game, that as a kind of a secondary character, and myself, someone that wasn't immersed in the Silent Hill series when I first started this game, that I generally, still afterwards really thinking about whether he was intoxicated or not. Whitney and Kemi Rowe in the chat's absolutely right. There is a new newspaper article that states that he was intoxicated.
I think I grabbed but we didn't read it.
I then wonder about that line that he says, living another man's lie, and perhaps he was just, it was a it was a hatchet job by the press on him. I don't know.
Entry to the Cave of Tears.
Oracle, you could put that as a poll in the chat. Do we think JP was intoxicated?
I'm wondering if that's why he's still in Silent Hill, because I believe him. I tend to believe JP when he says that it wasn't intentional, but I think the reason he's still there is he hasn't accepted his culpability.
Yeah. Oh. You son of a...
Yeah.
Go away! Listen here, fucker. Sorry. Ah!
Turn the radio on, look at the doves. It's very relaxing.
And I apologize for all the screaming.
Let's find a safe point, because Kristen's got to get going soon.
Yep.
Any last question or two that we can fit in real quick, people?
I blew something up.
Becker, do you have any questions?
No. You guys have been... Oh. Look at him! He's just standing there. Menacingly!
I think we're quite close to the next scene with Christian, aren't we? There's something up.
Yeah, I mean, unless anybody specifically wanted to watch one of the endings, the finale scene, and any of the endings, or have any questions about those scenes in particular. And I am sorry that I have to go.
No, you've been with us for almost 2 hours.
Yeah?
You've been so generous with your time, Christian.
I'm having a blast. This is so much fun.
We need to do this again.
Alright, so I have
Okay,
the video queued. Please hold. That's
I-
the wrong image.
So I sent you the scene that's coming up with Anne pointing the gun at Murphy.
Yep. I got it.
There we go.
And then give me a second so I can switch over the Discord so you guys can see it. Where's my mouse? Oops. Wow, I'm flooding today. Oh! There it is. There you guys go. Now you guys can see
Hello,
it.
Eileen. We're about to close up here soon.
There it goes.
Well, Christian, we put a poll on our in the chat, and it was 100% in favor. Oh, one sec.
Nope, no, I paused it.
Oh,
In
not that
favor
one.
of
It was
him not being drunk.
It's the Batgirl, the scene in the mines. I just sent you in the
You
chat.
just send it
Look-
again. Okay.
Oh, shall I send it to you again?
No. Okay. Yeah. No.
Should be right. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, you want me to play it now?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Right, we've got your scene lined up. Here we go, Christian.
I saw you.
Hands against the wall. I said, up against the wall.
You don't have to do this. We should help each other. This place, I don't know what it is or how we got here. But one thing
Just shut up. What the? Where did you get this? Where in the hell did you get this?
I just found it in these clothes. I didn't...
Is this some kind of sick joke to you?
No, I swear. I don't know what's going on any more than you do.
On your knees.
What?
On your fucking knees. You heartless bastard. You don't deserve to live. You're not fit to walk this earth while good, decent men.
I don't know who you think I am or what you think I've done.
Shut the hell up! You think this is funny, don't you? Well, let's see how funny it is with a fucking bullet in your head. I can't. I'm sorry. I can't do it.
It's such a strong scene for Anna.
And it's at this stage in the comic where you're seeing flashbacks of her childhood with Frank, and
What the hell are you waiting for? Leave me alone, goddammit!
Without that comic, a lot of us wouldn't be understanding what she's crying. Yay!
Ah. God, I
And
was
thank
having
you,
while you were
Kristin, for
playing
joining
that,
us.
I was having such sense memory of being in the booth, even though that was like 11 years ago.
Wow. I
And
was going
saying
before
all I was
No,
saying
sorry,
all
sorry.
that too, David.
Yeah, I was just going to say, but
Oh.
back before you play the next one, just in terms of that scene, Kristin, again, I just can't imagine what that would have been like in the parallel that we always hear with the Resident Evil actors, that they're in the booth separate, or I mean, not just separately, they don't even meet their fellow actors.
Yeah.
Often. So to have played out that scene must have been amazing together.
No, there's no way I could have done it without a scene partner. I mean, just having the sense memory of how it felt to be looking somebody in the eye and saying all of that to them. I mean, I'm not a violent person, and it took a lot for me to get to a place that was that intense, because I've fortunately never had a situation in my life where I needed to be that upset with somebody. But you know, watching David's reactions as I was saying all those things to him was, I could not have done it without him in the booth. And the same thing in the monologue at the end, where Anne is talking about taking care of her father when he was in a vegetative state, and all the things she had to do, and when every time she sees Murphy, she sees a monster. Again, I couldn't have done it without David right there in the booth, and that we only did one take of that. We did one take of that monologue.
Oh wow!
Yeah, we got all the way through it, and it came to the end, and everybody out in the control room was like, "Okay, moving on." And I said, "Really? You're sure?" And they're like, "Yeah, we're sure. We're sure. Moving on."
Yeah, absolutely fantastic scene. Wow, brilliant. And Batgirl, brilliant. Thank you for being able to line all these up. So I think, and so this is the next one. I think this is with you and Murphy in the boat.
Okay. Let me grab it here.
You gotta be kidding me.
Did you really think it could end like this?
After everything you saw back there, everything we've been through, you think going back to prison is all that's at stake here?
We're not going to Wayside.
What are you saying?
Turn the boat around.
Are you out of your mind? We're free. When we reach the opposite shore, I'll go one way, you can go the other. It's that easy.
We've got unfinished business, you and I.
I have no idea what the hell you're talking about, and honestly, I don't care anymore. There is no way in hell I'm going back.
It wasn't a request.
We've both just been through hell. Haven't you been paying attention?
No, you haven't been paying attention. You think this is all an accident? Just a big coincidence? This town, it knows me. It showed me things. It wants me to finish this. Don't you understand? It'll never let us go until we finish what we started. What you started.
I told you. I'm not going back. You might as well shoot me.
Fine.
How's it going, Murph? Heard you're gonna be leaving us soon.
What do you want, Sewell?
You weren't thinking of leaving before you paid back my favor, were you?
Napier.
What am I talking about? Of course you're gonna keep your end of the deal. You're a real stand-up guy, Murphy. Parole report says so right there in black and white. A model prisoner, right? Sure would be awful if they found out about what you did to that child buggering bastard, though, wouldn't it? I mean, shit. That would ruin everything, wouldn't it?
What do you want me to do?
What you're good at, of course. Ridding the world of monsters. I got another one for you.
Who is it?
Don't worry yourself about the details, Cupcake. Just take out the garbage like you did before and we'll be square.
When?
There's gonna be a little disturbance tonight. The other guards and me are gonna have our hands full, so no one's gonna notice when you head down to the showers and find your guy waiting there, just like last time.
And then?
Oh, I think you know what comes next. Unless, of course, you're thinking of breaking our deal.
And this other guy, he deserves it?
Oh, Murph, you have no idea how bad he deserves it. Hell, I only wish I could do it myself. So, what do you say, Cupcake? You gonna play ball?
I'll take care of it.
Did you get to meet some of the other cast members, Kristin, during the production?
Oh, I did have a brief crossover with Sewell, but
That's what I was asking.
yeah, just very brief. No, honestly, it was mainly me and David.
Yeah.
The only other actor I really saw recording actually was Kamala, who plays the voice of young Anne. Because she actually was a friend of mine from college who just naturally has a voice that sounds like a kid. They were having a lot of trouble casting the kids because all of the agents were looking at the script and saying we can't send kids out for this. So
yes.
So they still hadn't cast the kids when we were doing the main recording. So I gave them the information for my friend Kamala, who she just sounds like a kid, and they brought her in and recorded her. So
that's cool.
Yeah, young Anne is actually an adult, same age as me.
Oh wow. Okay, never would have guessed that. And M. Greg in the chat, he's right. He says that Saul's performance is chilling. It is a great performance. We're just letting this cutscene play through because I think we're about to see your character again in a second.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the monologue I was talking about.
They tried to kill me. It's not a man, it's a monster. That's not how it's supposed to go. It's not right.
Wanna go? Okay, go.
Do you want to Batgirl? Because I think Kristin has to go very soon. Do you want to line up the last cutscene, which is the
Truth and Justice?
Yes,
Yeah,
thank
it's
you.
already there.
Oh, well done, thank you.
I have it already up.
Don't do this. Come on, Murphy, you gonna keep your end of the bargain or not? Do it, you son of a bitch. No.
So should I leave this one there and jump to the other one?
Yeah, because I think it might be a good idea.
All right.
Yeah, we could do the quick birthday ending too.
Yeah.
What are you doing back
For Oracle's birthday, we'll have to have Pyramid Head cut your birthday cake.
Can't get enough of the
I
place.
love how serious Anna is. Get her justice.
What the hell's this?
You used to work with my father, Frank Coleridge.
Yeah? So?
We need to talk.
Dun dun dun. Da, 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 yes.
All right, I'm so sorry that I have to log off, guys, because I would love to keep doing this.
No,
This is
no,
so
no,
much
no, no.
fun.
Don't worry. If you would have more free time, we could do this again and have more questions.
Hey, I would be up for that. Yes, I would be. If there's interest, just let me know. I would love to do this again.
Yes.
Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm quite new to this game, but I know we've got so many supporters in the chat that have been following Silent Hill for many, many years, and I'm sure it's been an absolute pleasure for them to, to be able to connect with you. And thank you so much, for connecting with us. And you were so quick and so positive and so enthusiastic in your response to our team when we reached out to you. So just so generous and kind. Thank you so much, Kristin.
You're really welcome. And like I said, it's thrilling for me to know that 10 years later there is still a fan base for this game. So thank you everybody for being interested.
Well, thank you, and on behalf of the team and from all the fans, thank you so much. Happy birthday next week for your game's birthday, 10 years old.
Happy game birthday, and happy birthday, Oracle, tonight.
Yes.
Thank you.
And after this evening, be assured, when we upload this to our YouTube channel, so it will be up there forever, we'll have links to so your fans can find your website and your Twitter and can hear about more of what you've been doing. And of course, we'll also have a link to when we interview Tom Hewlett, the writer and producer of this game. Again, we'll have links to this podcast. So we're keeping Silent Hill Downpour very much prominent in people's minds. I think it's still very relevant today. And again, I hope we'll speak very soon. That
Wonderful.
comic book audio read hopefully one day might surface. We'll see what we can do.
Let's do it. All right, thanks guys.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you, Kristin.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Take care.
All right, I don't actually know how to disconnect.
Are we still live, Batgirl?
Do you want to say your last goodbyes?
Because I was just going to say thank you, goodbye to everyone. Thank you so much to everyone that's joined. Batgirl, thank you so much. It was amazing the way that you were able to put this together. Not just playing the game, but it was great that we were able to share those last scenes with Kristin that you so masterfully put up. Thank you. Brilliant. We couldn't do any of this without you as well. And Oracle, happy birthday. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. And I was about to say, can we just play the birthday ending real quick?
Oh yeah.
I'm sure we can.
You have it?
Have we got that line? I don't know if we've got that lined up.
You have it? Send it over. I got it.
I'll play it real quick. Hold on.
Whoever
Shall I
has
send it over?
Whoever has it, send it. Let's do this.
Okay. I'll try. Okay.
First one who gets it wins.
Are you looking, Oracle? I'm going over at YouTube now. My laptop's so slow.
Here.
Right.
Oh,
there you
got
go.
it. All right.
There we go. Well done.
It's time for the birthday and then let's go.
It's time for the birthday. Ew.
We should have got you like some. Oh, actually, no. I'm not gonna. No, sorry.
Here we go. Let me pull up a cupcake.
I'm gonna reword what I was thinking. We should get a like a birthday, not a strippergram. Like it's someone dressed up as Pyramid Head to come over to your apartment, Oracle.
Well, watch the birthday and then you'll see what happens.
There we go.
I don't mean like, not like a strippergram, but just he'll keep his Pyramid Head on.
There we go. Cupcakes with a little bear.
Cupcake one.
Oh man, I'm
Cute
starving.
confetti. Choo choo. And seriously, thank you everybody for joining us and having fun. Join us again next time. Surprise!
Oh, you guys.
To the nurses.
Happy birthday, Oracle.
Happy birthday, Oracle.
Thank you. Thank you. Now let's cut the cake.
Here comes your date for the evening, Oracle.
And now everybody can have cake.
What a gentleman.
Let him go.
See, he's a modern man. He shares.
It's like one half for you guys, the other half is all mine.
Happy birthday, Downpour, and happy birthday to me.
Alright. So.
Happy birthday, Oracle. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back very soon. We're going to be interviewing Tom Hewlett, as you know, series producer of many of the more recent Silent Hill games. And our next podcast is going to be out in a couple of weeks, which will be Resident Evil at the Movies. We all have strong opinions on the Paul W.S. Anderson era. I'm not going to give my own opinion because we tend to have a no swearing policy.
Sorry.
I'm one of the rare few people that didn't think Welcome to fucking City was that bad. But you'll hear what Oracle and Batgirl has to say. And of course, Sean LeBert, who was the writer and producer of Resident Evil Arclay, he'll be joining us as well, and we're going to be doing a live watch of his short film. There's a director's cut out. You guys probably saw that. The Residents of Evil released that, and we're going to be doing a director's commentary with Sean, a live watch, and he'll be talking about that, so you guys can tune in live to watch that with us in a couple of weeks' time. Oracle, Dragon, and Batgirl, I'll hand over to you to say your goodbyes.
You first, Bat.
All right. So thank you guys all for joining us today. I struggled a little bit, but we got through it. Thank you guys so much for your support.
Thank you all for coming along and joining us for the fun. Hopefully we'll do some more live streams for you, and please join in next time when we do our very interesting interviews. Love y'all.
Good night.
Take care.
Night night.